Hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox Chair, on the show this evening. It's Juicy Bear and young Robert. How we doing, gentlemen?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Evening, Ox. Evening, Juicy.
Good. How we doing, gentlemen? How are you, Juicy Bear?
Oh, it's so good to be back, my friend. It's good to see you. I know you've had a little holiday. Haven't heard from you for a while. One of my main guys, Robert. I don't think we've been on together for quite a while. So, happy days.
Yeah, so like a Rangers centre half's new pairing.
Keeping it fresh.
Keeping it fresh. Oh, I like that. How are you, Robert?
I'm good, Ox. I'm good. Looking forward to the show tonight. And as Juicy Bear said, first time we've been on together on the panel. First we've actually been on together at the same time. So looking forward to it. And of course yourself, mate.
I'm feeling a wee bromance here, boys. No comment.
It's a beautiful thing.
Early stages, we'll see how it goes.
I'll just quickly get your thoughts now. You've had time to reflect on Tuesday evening. I know you've been on this week, Robert, but we'll hear from Juicy first then. You've had time to reflect, Robert. On you go, Juicy.
Okay, so first of all, we made it through. It certainly wasn't an easy tie. I think whenever there's one goal in any tie, doesn't matter who the opposition is, whether you think that you should be doing better or not. As long as there's one goal in it, it's always tight. And it was tricky. First half, we didn't equip ourselves very well. Second half looked a lot better. But despite that, it was still only that one goal, Ox. And it only takes that one lapse, doesn't it? And suddenly you find yourself conceding late in the game, extra time, and you know anything can happen. So they did well. They performed a lot better in the second half. It got a bit tense towards the end, especially when you see what's going to be the norm now in so much added time. But I think they can be pleased. Mission accomplished. One more round. I don't think any of us are foolhardy enough to know that it's going to be easy. It won't be, but we're there. We've got every right to play the tie, and we'll see how it goes. And fingers crossed they can do it. We know it will be difficult, but just equip yourselves well, guys, and see what happens.
Yeah, but some of a great point you mentioned about the time added on. How long do you thought before we're going to get a tour football match? Juicy.
It's coming. It's coming, my friend. When you look at the times, stoppages, and you've seen in the Ladies World Cup, there's been matches going into the 100th minute, and it's. I've always been a big fan of actually stopping the clock like they do in rugby. So they play 90 minutes. The ball will be in play for 90 minutes. You're going to see a lot of knackered players out there, but I think it's what they should be doing rather than making estimates on how much time should be added on. Just have the ball in play for 90 minutes.
Yeah, well said. Robert, now you've had time to reflect. What's your thinking now, mate?
As I said the other night, mate, and as Juicy's alluded to, it's job done, and we're there. Wasn't the prettiest game, but we've got through uglier times. The job was done. It should have been done a lot sooner at Ibrox. They should have put some more goals by them. But at the end of the day, we are there. It's going to be a tough test against PSV. We've had experience against them last season, and hopefully we'll get through the same result again this season. I don't think MD's under the impression that PSV have not strengthened as well as ourselves. So it'll be an interesting game to see. But at the end of the day, as Juicy says, we are there. The financial implications that come next as well are massive. And it almost sets the season, almost how it's going to be for us and what kind of expectations is going to be there for this season. But it's certainly an interesting couple of weeks coming ahead, and we may actually see how strong this team can actually be throughout this season at these big games so early on.
I thought you were talking about Fox's dance card there when you said wasn't the prettiest but had ugly in the performance, but that's another story. Right, okay, but we move away the Champions League qualifier, but move away for league business, and we play a League Cup tie on a Saturday afternoon, which is pretty unusual, if I'm being honest, but it must be to do with the deal on the sponsorship with the TV company. And it's always a big game. It's a cup tie. Hey, Robert.
It is, mate, and you look at this and you go, on paper it should be comfortable, and we've been here in the past where teams have came to Ibrox and they've shut up shop and made it hard for us to play against, and I don't think Morton's going to be any different tomorrow. Dougie Emery's got them pretty well set up, and they done well last season under him as well. They had almost a playoff spot, and they went to the last of the season, and if results went their way, they were there. So I know they're maybe not in the position they are in terms of numbers in the squad. I know they've had a couple of boys on trial that they never gave contracts to, but they'll be stubborn. I don't think they're coming here to play attacking football. They're certainly going to sit in, and it's down to us to try and find these plan A's, plan B's and plan C's to break them down. And it would be interesting to see if and how much squad rotation he does tomorrow, if any, or if he feels a full strength team now would get us in best preparation for Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's a puzzler. Do you see what you're thinking?
I think it's a good tie for us for the weekend, in between two, of course, really difficult Champions League matches. We know every match is big for Rangers, doesn't matter the tournament, but if you don't change the team round here, you haven't got your head on straight. I would definitely make a few changes, bring in a couple more players who he wants to see a little bit more of. Think about the players who maybe extended themselves to a big degree in midweek, because you've got to be thinking about the Eindhoven game. Now, if you're looking at from a finances point of view, of course one is more important than the other, but the League Cup is still about winning silverware, which we haven't won that tournament for a long time. I was barely out of nappies when we last won it.
I know the feeling.
It was a long time ago. So we've got to start getting back into that. And I know,
but the way it's gone, we'll be back in nappies before we win it. Yeah, carry on.
Exactly. And it was. You just want to see him do well in these tournaments and start progressing. I know it's early days. Feels like it's come very early this season, but we just need to put a team out that's appropriate. And I know Tav's had some criticism recently. He still scored the goal that put us through, but we all have to acknowledge that he's not been great defensively this season. And even though he's never been one for being great at defending, maybe this would be an opportunity to give Sterling a debut and see what the guy's got, because he hasn't really had the opportunity yet. We can only start measuring these players when they've actually had some game time.
All right. I think Robbie McCrory's a certainty to start tomorrow. Robert.
I think so too, mate. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't. I don't know how many I would change myself just yet. I've been trying to think about it today, how many changes I would make. I get just his point about Sterling playing. I think if he is coming in to the team, you might actually just see him at centre back rather than right back, just to kind of pair up whoever it may be, whether he rests Goldson or Suter, or he might even bring in King as well at centre half. So it's one of those ones where you could make 3 changes and you'll maybe say that we're playing too many players ahead of Tuesday in terms of first team and not rotating enough. But then if you rotate too many and it doesn't look good on the park and it doesn't work well, he comes under scrutiny for it. So it's certainly going to be interesting, but I do think McCrory will get an odd, and I'll be very surprised if it doesn't. If it doesn't, it maybe suggests that there's something else going on in the background, that he's closer to moving than we think.
I'm hearing whispers that might not be happening, but you never know in football. Right, okay. Would you play Dijon Sterling, Jussie?
Absolutely. Got to give him an opportunity. And whether it's centre-back or full-back, I'm not too concerned about. I'm not saying we definitely need to drop Tav. I just think you've got to put Sterling in there in some capacity and give the kid an opportunity.
I'm sure we'll debate it as the night goes on. Right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to hear your friend Port. Yeah, in a couple of minutes we'll get a Port report because he talks about opposition for the League Cup tomorrow. We'll get the phone lines opened and then I'll put you two on the spot. You put your football manager's head on and we'll get your teams, both your teams. Know what you think Michael Beale will pick, what yous would pick, yeah?
Sounds good to me.
All right, I know too hard for you, Juicy?
Excellent.
All right, okay. So get yourself a mute, lads, and we'll hear from our good friend, the one and only Port Bear, with a Port report.
Hello, welcome to Port's Report. Today we're going to look at Rangers versus Morton, predictions, team news and line-up. Rangers continue their busy August schedule when they welcome Morton to the Ibrox Stadium in the last 16 of the Scottish League Cup on Saturday afternoon. The hosts enjoyed a productive trip to Switzerland in midweek, which means they are now just 2 matches away from group stage football in this year's Champions League. The Gers have endured an indifferent start domestically this term, losing away at Kilmarnock on the opening day of the Scottish League Premiership, before dispatching Livingston 4-0 Ibrox a week later. Morton have also commenced their respective league campaign with 3 points from 2 outings, although the visitors' most recent match ended in defeat last Saturday. Dougie Emery took his Morton men to Starks Park to face Raith Rovers, with strikes from Jack Hamilton, Lewis Vaughan and Callum Smith, seeing the Kirkcaldy-based club come out on top of a 5-goal thriller. Thorn have been in competition since the middle of July due to their participation in the group stage of the League Cup, with Saturday's visitors collecting 9 points in a quartet of fixtures to finish only behind Ross County in Group D. Morton have been unable to get the better of Rangers in the last 5 meetings, although many supporters will recall their impressive 2-2 draw against the second-tier Gers side back in December 2015, a game in which Stephen McCluskey put Morton ahead in. Saturday was the first time Emery's men have featured in the knockout stages of the League Cup since 2019-20 season, with a penalty shoot defeat to Hibernian, halted their progress in the competition at the round of 16. Rangers boss Michael Beale has a glut of injuries to deal with ahead of Saturday's cup clash, one of which being Ridvan Yilmaz, with 6-time Turkey international expected to be sidelined for a few weeks due to a muscle strain. With a crucial match in the Champions League against PSV fast approaching, they expect a raft of changes from starting 11 who drew with Servette last time out, meaning likes of Todd Cartmel and Nico Raskin should drop to the bench. Morton could have a second debut to 24-year-old Ian Wilson at Ibrox this weekend after the midfielder's return to the club was announced on Wednesday, making the loan switch from third-tier side Queen of the South. Robbie Crawford is expected to be in the visitors' starting 11, despite transfer speculation swirling around Morton's talisman. Manager Emery revealed that the club are yet to receive any formal bids for the attacking midfielder. Rangers' possible starting lineup: McCrory, Sterling, Balogun, King, Ridvan, Jack, Cifuentes, Dowell, Hadji, Matondo and Danilo. Morton's lineup: McDonald, McGrattan, O'Connor, Broadfoot, Waters, Blues, Crawford, Power, Gatongo, Boyd and Muirhead. And that's the end of Port Report.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Some interesting stuff there, Port there. I don't think Ridvan will play. I still think he's injured, but you never know, Juicy.
Did he check the team news?
Port?
He
He might have done it before he did it. But yeah, I don't think so. But anyway, interesting. You've always got to go into these games with the right attitude, you say. It's important. Any game, but sometimes banana skin's more important.
all the time. It's always important, and you've got to put in the right work ethic for this. It may be a team that you want to see us beat easily, but we've got to. You've still got to go and do the job, Ox. Won't count for anything less than that.
Yeah, I think the fans will be looking for some goals tomorrow, Robert.
Absolutely, and no disrespect to Morton, it's a team where you could probably get quite a few goals put by them. As I said earlier, they'll set up and they'll be stubborn, but it's how we break that down. And we've got the quality to certainly go create the chances. It's just about the execution. We've seen it the past few weeks that the execution is just not there yet, and this is probably a great chance for the strikers or any other kind of player to get a bit of confidence. Particularly strikers, though, get some goals, get confidence, and it might just kickstart them into a wee bit of a spark. I know we spoke the other night about Danilo and Dessers. If they're to feature and get maybe 2 goals minimum, then they'll take confidence from that. They won't look at it and say it's a lesser team. At the end of the day, for strikers, it's goals, and goals gives you confidence.
Right, Robert, you've got time to think. Give me your team that you would pick.
McCrory, Tavernier, Sterling, Balogun, Barisic, Lundstrom, Dowell, Hadji, Lammers, Dessers, Matondo.
Okay, taking the nail reaction. All right, what a good talking points there. Juicy Bear, put you on the spot, mate.
Right. Okay, so we're going McCrory in goal. I'm going to have Sterling on the right. I'm going to have Devine on the left. And then I'm going to have Davis and probably Balogun as the 2 centre-backs. And then in midfield...
I don't think Ben Davis is fit, mate, is he?
Oh, I apologise. There's me after just hammering Port.
Yeah, Port's just text me. I'm not telling you what he said.
Any available centre-back then who's probably not Goldson. So I wouldn't mind playing Suter there. I still want to see more of him. I know King's not fully fit yet either. In the middle, we're going to go with Hadji. The boy's got to start. He's got to get involved. We've got to see some of him. I don't know what the situation is. Is he for sale? Or not? What's the situation with the guy? I want to see him play. He's a player that can unlock a lot of these stuffy defences. I know he's not the only number 10 we've got. Kamara's not going to play, despite some people who I was talking to earlier saying he might get a start. He's not going to get a start. I think he's done. Lundstrom will probably start. Matondo could start. I think Dow will definitely start. So a 3-man midfield of Lundstrom, Matondo, probably on the left side, maybe. We could go into attack. And Dow, I think, will definitely start. And then up front, probably Lammers, Seema, and maybe Roof. What do you think about that? Do you think Roof will start? He's got to, surely.
I wouldn't be surprised if him and Tom Lawrence are involved. Whether they'll start, I don't know enough about how far down the road with the fitness is, but we might hear some of that.
The only thing I'm not too sure with at the moment, Ox and Robert, is what formations are we going to play here? Because, I've just put Matondo there on like a left midfield side. I know he can obviously play left wing as well. But I'm not too sure about what the best formation is for this team yet. No, I had a 4-1-2-1-2 the other week, like a diamond formation, just to try and get the players that I wanted in. So I'm still not sure what the best formation is for this team. Thoughts are welcome.
I don't really see the formation we're playing, mate. It keeps me concerned with this narrowness. I think the idea that you have a focal point as a striker with a lot of movement behind with it's a basis on 4-3-3, but it's played very narrow. And I'm not feeling it. Other people might see it different, and I have been wrong before, but I just don't like when you're playing decent teams you give him so much time and space in the wings. But with my Michael Beale, hopefully proved right, and it goes for strength to strength, Robert, as the players get used to the system. But that's the system I've seen we've played in most games. Yeah, you can tweak it. There's 2 setters, 1 setter, whatever. But basically, it's all a type of 4-3-3. I don't know what you're seeing, Robert.
Similar to yourself, mate, it does look very narrow. And when you look at the games back, the joy that we've got from wide players, believe it or not, it's no surprise. It's Tavernier and Barisic. There's no main out winger on the right or out on the left. As far as I was led to believe, Sima came in as a right winger, and we've not really seen him. He's been in a 10 and a 9 or a Lincoln with a striker. He's not been, I don't think, in his natural right wing position.
I thought he'd done all right for the second half on Tuesday evening, mate. I thought he was starting to influence the game a bit.
The second half, you saw more of him, but I don't know if, again, that was a change of formation that, in a bit of style at half time. We spoke about the press that Raskin and Cifuentes done the second half. They came from the middle, which allowed Simmer to kind of be more involved when the ball broke to the attacking players. But I just feel that the formation just now, it is very narrow, and I think it's because if we were to have a winger and Sima on the right, I don't know who we'd put far left. I think Cantwell can play the position, but he's more effective for me in the central 10 position where we've been playing Lammers. And I just wonder if he's looking at it and thinking he'll get 2 10s behind a striker if he can get a midfield free and not play wide players at all. But then if you do that, it's who you select. And it don't get me wrong, it's a great dilemma to have, these options of formations and personnel and the quality we've got now. But we just need to see from ourselves what Michael Beale is looking at. He's mentioned a few times he's got a style he wants to see more of it. Until we see that, it's not going to look the complete package, and we know it'll take some time, but we need to kind of get an idea ourselves as supporters watching it, what formation and how it's going to work, and if it doesn't work, what plan B is. Because as you said, first half on Tuesday night, it was all through the middle, there was nothing, and then the second half it was a totally different game. And again, that was a change of formation. It's similar to the Livingston game. They brought on Matondo and he had a spark. He brought something a bit different to the game. But it was that wide player with the fast, energetic pace. It's simple things that are still tweaking. And I think we spoke about it tonight. I still don't think Michael Beale knows his strongest 11 yet. And you might just see the rotation tomorrow to try and give him that idea and give us some sort of indication of who the strongest 11 is and in what formation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to play Cifuentes tomorrow, and I'm going to play Raskin or Cantwell. I would imagine they want to play because you would expect players to want to play. I'm not saying I wouldn't have them involved, you see, but I think you've got little picture, big picture, and you've got to give people time. You don't get that many options in this season, but I would counteract my argument was potentially I might play the 2 strikers to try and get them some goals for confidence.
Yeah, and you know something, other than a few key players, Cantwell, Raskin, I would class in that. I'm not too concerned about who we've started with, but I just want to give a few of those newer players that opportunity. I really don't want to see Raskin and Cantwell anywhere near the starting 11 at all. It just wouldn't make any sense. You've got Dowell, you've got Hadji. You know, there's players there that need to be given that opportunity, see what they can do. We know they're good players, so I don't think there's any fear factor there in giving them the chance. A little bit more of a chance, I suppose, on maybe a player like a Sterling or a Devine. But you know, Devine's played well for us before. Sterling deserves his opportunity. I think you've just got to have a little bit of a look at the weekend's game versus midweek. And if you play Cantwell, and you remember what happened to Hadji in a Scottish Cup game against a lower ranked team, he was out a year after getting injured badly. And I know that can happen in any game, but you've got to minimise the chances a little bit. Don't have Cantwell involved in a game like this when we've got such a massive game in midweek.
Yeah, so we'll ask the listeners, we'll put it out there. Would you start Todd Cantwell tomorrow? Yes or no? It's a simple question, Robert, isn't it?
It is, and as much as you maybe want to see him do what he does in the park, I think it is the game where you can tell him to have the day off. Sit in the stands, watch it, whatever he wants to do, but certainly not be involved. As much as he'd want to, as you said, I don't think it's a game where he'll be called upon. And as Juicy said earlier, Hadji could be given a chance, and we know what Hadji can do. And I'm not saying him and Todd Cantwell are similar, but they've got that wee kind of opening of defences that some players don't have. And it might just be that something that we need from a different player other than Cantwell. But certainly rotation, I think, is key. But I wanted to ask you, would you be surprised if he went with the starting 11 tomorrow that he would on Tuesday, just to get preparation and confidence from this game into Tuesday? Because PSV have been given the weekend off as well. I've seen.
Yeah, there's logic in that, and I get that. And people would say you use it on an aggressive training session, but you've got to watch you don't insult the other team, and it comes back and bite you if you don't go in with the right attitude, and you have to get it right. There's the argument that you play your best team, and that would mean that Cantwell and Raskin would start. Yeah, without a doubt. And the way we're playing this now. And I understand that argument fully. Because you could rest all these players and your plans just go to pot. You've got Cantwell and Raskin on the bench, two of them running at each other in the first minute. You've got to put the two of them on Tuesday. So managing is difficult because Michael Beale, he's got a quarter of an eye on Tuesday night, but he's got to make sure tomorrow is successful. And then as soon as the final whistle goes at 2:15 or 3:15, the way it goes now, Juicy, then all the focus goes on Tuesday night, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I still don't want to see Raskin or Campbell start, though. I totally understand the point about going with the same team, but I am so fearful of one of our top guys getting an injury that would rule them out. Remember, last season, we were ravaged by injuries, and we've still got a few knocking around now, as we heard from Port and yourself earlier. And I think we've got to be just cautious about how we deploy our main guys. And the PSV game is hard enough with your full team and your first choice picks. I just want to be a little bit cautious. I'm not normally so cautious, but any team that we put out against Greenock Morton is going to be a competitive team, even if they're players that don't play all the time. We're only several games into the season. We haven't even found what is probably our best lineup yet. So I think everyone's still in contention. So I don't think there's any team that we could play against Morton that would be not doing them justice in terms of what Morton will bring, because they'll be playing their best. They'll be thrilled to have a game at Ibrox, and we've got to put in a performance that's worthy of winning the match. But any one of our squad should be capable of that, with the greatest respect to Morton.
Yeah, I'm a great believer that all teams should show caution, but that's just me. I think a lot of people would agree. I think I know what I'm talking about. Right. Come and join us, 0141 356 1972. Give us your thoughts about tomorrow. We're going to have a quick poll with our new software and Facebook. Would you have rotation or your strongest team? Simple. Yeah, it's just it's basically a yes or no answer, isn't it, Robert? Yeah, it'd be just interesting to see what the punters are thinking. Come and join us. Give us your thoughts on what's happening in the club. Give us your thoughts on team selection tomorrow or anything else Rangers related. Robert?
Yeah, I'm liking this Facebook poll. This is good to get some interaction from the ones listening as well. obviously come and join us, give us your thoughts, pick up the phone and give us a call. But certainly let us know in the poll if you're going with your strongest 11 or a rotated 11. How cautious should we take this game before Tuesday, or how big should we prepare for it?
We had to get the software because it was only me and Terry could do the percentages, none of the rest of them could count it. So we got the software, so it's easy for everybody. But we're very generous. Maybe Juicy would manage the percentages, but the rest of them are struggling, you know. Juicy?
Oh, thank you very much, folks.
Yeah, you know, this is going to be fun. Right, I'd be interested in what people think. I think there will be rotation, but I always understand the argument that you have natural rotation with suspensions and injuries over a season, Juicy.
Agreed, and we certainly had enough of those last season from an injury perspective. We rarely saw the same Rangers side. It'd be lovely, wouldn't it, to have a little bit more consistency this season, Ox. And as we move through the season and into the group stages of whatever European tournament we're in, we're going to need that consistency because you're going to need a stable back line and forward players that work well together and understand how each other play. You keep chopping it around like we did last season because of the injuries. We were all over the place in those group stage matches. As soon as we lost Goldson, we lost our consistency and our position play against Liverpool, and we saw how the rest of the group went. So it just shows you how important it is to keep your solid base and your key players.
Talking about a solid base, we'll be joined by another young Robert Weatherall. Evening, Robert.
Good evening, Oxford. You've always got to be cautious. Yes. Good evening, Juicy and young Robert. Good to hear you guys.
Evening, Robert.
Anyway,
evening,
guys,
mate.
good to hear you. Anyway, my team for tomorrow, I would go with young McCrory in goals, boys Sterling, Golson, Balogun, and Bomber. Midfield.
Golson,
I would give him a half a game, Oxford. I wouldn't give him any more than that. I'd give him a half a game. My midfield, along with the guys, I'm going to go with Lundstrom, Hadji, and Dowell. And up front, you've got to give these boys a chance. Ideally, I wouldn't play the two of them, but I'm going to go with Dessers, Danilo, and I'm going to want Rabbi Matondo out in the left because I think Rabbi Matondo's a lot better when he plays out in the left. So that's my team tomorrow. And the reason I'm putting in guys like Bomber is because Bomber's been playing well and he does put in a good cross. We'll not get any woods, as you've said yourself. So Bomber can get the voice in, hopefully, for the two boys to get a goal or 2 weeks and boost their confidence for Tuesday. So that's the reason why I'm putting Bomber in there tomorrow.
Good shout, Robert. I get you. Give me your argument for Golson starting.
I just feel, I agree with you. I thought in Tuesday, especially in the first half, I thought he was awful. He came on to a game, I thought, as it went on, but I just feel, because he's not played much in the last 6 or 7 months, whatever it is, I just think he needs more minutes in his legs. But certainly I wouldn't be giving him a full game or 60. I'd give him 45 at the very most. That's the only reason, because he's not played much football in the last few months.
My gut feeling tells me he'll not be involved because he'll not be able to be involved in 3 games in a week, and he'll keep him for Tuesday night. That's what I'm thinking, Robert.
No, listen, you're probably going to be right because he'll certainly go to rest a few players. And to answer your question, Todd Cantwell, he's got to be left out tomorrow. Same with Raskin and Tavernier and guys like that. We need to rest some players because this is a big match on Tuesday night. But as I say, you'll probably be right and he probably won't play Golston tomorrow. And if he doesn't, then it's maybe a chance for young Leon King.
Mm-hmm. Aye, Leon King deserves a chance, doesn't he? He deserves a chance to re-establish himself and see if he's, because obviously get thrown in and his confidence must have took a knock last year, yeah? We weren't fair to the lad, if we're being honest.
Oh no, that is. I mean, everybody goes on about that disaster in the Champions League, but look at the players. We were playing young Leon King, and he didn't even have a solid centre back beside him. Against Liverpool, was it James Sands was playing, who's not even a centre back, and we were rubbish with injuries last year. Do you know what I mean? So touch wood, that will not happen this year. But Well, it's another point. I would also like to. I hope tomorrow Kay Marroof and Tom Lawrence gets good. I hope Kay Marroof and Lawrence get at least a half an hour, because I want to see Kay Marroof up to speed. Hopefully he has got all his injuries, and that, you know yourself, see if that guy can stay fit. He's by far the best finisher we've got.
Yeah, I would like to see the two of them involved in and if they get half an hour, I'd be delighted, you know, to see the two of them back. We'll look two new signings, mate, but I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll hear from your assistant manager, Mr. Barnfield, Neil Barnfield. We'll hear what he's got to say on the selection for tomorrow, and then we can try and pin together all these jigsaws and all these conundrums and see who's right and who's wrong. So get yourself a mute. You hang on there, Robert, young Robert, the two young Roberts, and we'll hear from your assistant manager, Neil Barnfield.
Neil, firstly, in terms of the post-match influence of the game during the week, what do you expect the impact of that success to be going forward, given the enormity of the occasion?
Yeah, I think the week we've just had, I think it's great. It's great for the lads, what they've had to prepare for the game. I think with the games that come in thick and fast now, I think we dealt with we got through the tie, and we're moving on to Morton on Saturday. So I just think it's a great for us as a squad, as a new group working together to get used to how it's going to be in the coming months. And I think it's been a real good experience for the group. Given that obviously the start of the season wasn't the best result, that particularly after half-time, that second half, do you expect that to now be a standard of what you expect going forward? Yeah, I think you're always going to. I think when you're building a group, I think you're always going to get bumps along the road. I think we had one bump and we've come through it and we've gone on and we've got victories. We didn't win on Wednesday night, but we actually won the tie. So we go through, and you take every win, it's a win, and we move on to tomorrow's game. I'm sure you'll respect the opponent tomorrow. Is it an opportunity, though, given the number of recruits you've brought in, the size of the squad, to give people the opportunities to state their claim? No, I don't think. I think it's a cup game. I don't think you give anyone opportunities to state their claim. I think the manager will pick the team that he feels will win the game. It's a big cup game. The club's got great history in it. So I think we'll use it to get into the next round of the cup, and then we'll take every game as it comes, and we play Morton, then we move on to PSV next week. But this game is firmly in our focus, and we're looking to win tomorrow.
Are you expecting to see many changes to the lineup, though, given the fact that you had that tough game in Europe on?
No, I think we've built a squad mix. The manager build a squad, and I think he'll pick the side that will win the game. So there won't be no games for people. We've got to win the game tomorrow. In terms of the League Cup itself, obviously it's the first game for yourselves in the competition this year. Given the fact that there were no trophies here last year and how important trophies are to this club, how important is it that you do progress it and go as far in this competition as you can? I think, as we all well know, the history of the club is about winning trophies, and it's a trophy to win. It's the first one of the season, and we'll focus strongly on that and winning through to the next round.
What have you made, Neil, of the reaction over the last couple of weeks? From in terms of the outside, from certain results that have not gone your way. What have you made of how the sort of media and whatnot of went about that? Well, to be honest, we just focus on what we're doing, and we know the plan. We've got. I think when you're building a squad, it takes some time, obviously. But we've had some good results, and they're working extremely hard, and I think the way I think it continue over the next few games. And I think as it comes, you hope that relationships are built, and you start to see it on the pitch. And I think we've seen really strong areas of that coming. In terms of Michael, obviously a lot of pressure on him being the Rangers manager. You always need to win matches. What's he been like behind the scenes? Just to give us a wee bit of insight into his character in and around the place when that pressure is obviously building. I think the managers give really clear messages. He's been strong, and I think the team know the direction they want to go in. And we've had a plan from day one. He's laid what he wants, and I think we're working towards it.
The front six that started against Livingston last weekend, none of them were at the club when Michael and yourself came back. Is that kind of a visual representation of how much change there's been, and how do you work in training and getting those sort of players to gel and patterns of play and stuff like that? I think when you bring in new players into a new squad, it's difficult
And it does take time. And as I said, I think it's about relationships within a group. And we've seen it on the training field. And there's no other way than getting on the pitch. We had a good camp. We worked well as a camp. And as we said, there's going to be a few bumps along the road. But I think we're eyeing them out. And as it goes, it'll only get better and better as time goes on.
Ask about Ben Davies and Ridvan Yilmaz. I think Ben was picturing training. Michael said last week he hopes Ridvan will be back a day in the squad for tomorrow.
I think Michael's just about finalising his group, but we've got a good bill of health. I think we've got one injury, I think, but it's all coming along fine.
Neil, should there be an element of patience amongst the support, given that there's been 9 new signings brought in and guys need time to bed in?
I think when you're dealing with fans in general, they always want winning straight away, and I think we've got to take that as it is. You know, you can say we could get a little bit of patience, but they want the team to win, and we can feel it when we play, and that's what we're trying to give them.
It's a huge week, Neil, isn't it? You think of the League Cup starting, and then obviously those huge PSV games coming up. I mean, this is the chance for obviously the club to be where they want to be in terms of the group stages. What's been the message to the players with, you know, a huge couple of weeks coming up?
I don't think you can look beyond tomorrow. You know, we've got a big game tomorrow, so we take every game one day at a time. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but that's how it is. We've got Morton tomorrow, and we'll give them the utmost respect, and then we'll move on to PSV once the game finishes tomorrow.
You also spent a lot of time at Arsenal, another big club with huge expectations levels. The level of expectations and demand quite similar between the two clubs.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's what I think for our fan coming into Rangers. The expectancy level of winning at this big club, that's what it's all about. That's what we was at Arsenal, and that's what Rangers have, and that's what we have to live with.
Does it come as a surprise at all, the sheer enormity of the club and those expectation levels?
I think, if I'm honestly, yes. I think you walk in, you come from Arsenal, and you come at Rangers, you walk out at Ibrox. It's fantastic, on a personal point, you know, and it's great. It's about, you've got to look through that, and it's what you do on the grass, and that's what we're working towards.
Neil, it looks like Celtic are going to refuse the tickets for the first Old Firm game of the season. Just your reaction to that news that it will be a full Ibrox from away fans for the first time of the season?
Well, I think that's the powers above me. They make their decisions along with the manager, and what they decide we'll do.
But you personally, would you like to see away fans at these matches if it was up to yourself?
Well, it's always nice to have opposition fans, but as I said, we'll just leave it to the board and with Michael and their decision, see what we respect their decision, what they decide to do.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right, just a wee bit, try to blindside the guy and catch him out. We can see right through him. I'll go to the old stager first. Robert Weatherall, we can see right through him, can't we?
Oh, brilliant. No, I loved it. I listened to his interview today. No, I loved about it. Michael Beale needs to tell us in this interview, unlike Michael Beale, that man gave nothing away, nothing at all. Even that ridiculous question about the ticket allocation. That man, that's what you call, because that man's got experience working at Arsenal all the years he's been in football, coaching, etc. And we know Michael's is still a rookie. So that's what Michael Beale needs to do, because he does give away too much. Well, I'm sure we all agree when he talks, he does say too much at times. I loved that interview for Neil Banfield today. Spot on.
Just to give the latest on the poll on Facebook, surprised me. We've not quite got Brexit, but it's 59-41 for strongest team. Yeah, tomorrow. Just shows you how people are thinking. Just a bit.
Well, yeah, it's tight, split down the middle just about. It's neither viewpoint is necessarily wrong, and there's a great argument to keep it consistent with your best team. Although I still don't think we found our best team, which is why I want to keep mixing it up a little bit, especially in a League Cup game.
Okay then.
You know,
so I'll change the question.
There.
I'll change. It's 67%. There's a swing. The swingometer. I've got a swingometer now, Robert. Right. I'll change the question to the three quickly before we move on then. What is our strongest team at the moment, in your opinion? Just quickly. Young Robert?
Scotland, Tavernier,
You got Tavernier. Carry on.
Aye. Tavernier, Goldson, Suter. Personally, I would play Yilmaz, but obviously we're not seeing a lot of him this season with his injury again. So if it's me, I would go with Yilmaz over Barisic. But if talking about now, you would have to probably pick Barisic.
Come on, hurry up. I've got my work on Monday.
Midfield 3, Raskin, Cantwell, Cifuentes, and Lammers, Danilo. And I think that's about it. I can only think maybe 10 that are strongest just now. There's one place up for grabs.
So we're
And I
going
don't know
to play
if it's
with 10 men?
Well, we could. We could, to be fair. But I'll fling in maybe a bit of a left field one here, but I'll fling Ryan Jack into the middle and go with a diamond.
See, when you started that, I was clean shaven. I need to go and get a razor. Right, hurry up. Juicy, use your team quickly. Your best team.
Oh, no. Okay, my best team is Butland, Yilmaz, Suter, Goldson, Tav, Cifuentes, Raskin, Cantwell, Danilo, Lammers. I like him. I'm just not so sure about that left side.
Come on, hurry up.
Can I take a pass? Can I take a pass on the left, please?
No, hurry up. Come on.
Well,
hurry
just
up.
difficult. I just don't think we've got it sorted out on the left side yet. But I suppose if I had to really go with it, I'd probably say if he's fully fit. Oh God, I'm gonna have to go with Seema because we haven't got anyone else. I can't have Matondo on the left yet, mate. He's just not good enough yet. He needs more game time. He's been poor for us.
You watch this man. He's just going to rhyme 11 names off. He's thought about it. He's going to give an answer. On you go, Robert W.
Yeah, I did 10 out of 11 there. Pretty good, Ox. Come on.
Rubbish. Hurry up, Robert W. Give us it.
Jack Butland, James Tavernier, Borna Barisic, Connor Goldson, John Suter, Ryan Jack, Nicola Raskin, Cifuentes, Todd Cantwell, Danilo, and Kemar Ruth.
One more?
No, that's it.
The
midfield was Ryan Jack, Raskin, Cifuentes.
And Cantwell's number 10 with 2 in front of him. Yeah, okay. There you go. That's how you meant to do it, yeah?
Oh, right. Can I ask you a wee question? I don't know if you said earlier, what would your team be tomorrow? If you were the Rangers manager and picking the team tomorrow, then on Tuesday, what would you go for tomorrow?
I would pick Robbie McCrory, Dijon Sterling, Liam Balogun, Leon King, and depending on the fitness, I think the boy Ridvan's still got maybe a wee knock, so if he's got a knock at all, I wouldn't play him, so you need to go with Borna. In the midfield, I would have John Lundstrom, because he's not played this week at all, so he playing the holding role with the boy Dow, who must be winning a bit of confidence because of the goal he scored last week. He's fighting for his place and be desperate. I wouldn't play Cifuentes, Raskin or Cantwell tomorrow. So I've got a space in midfield, and I would play Hadji, and then up front I would play the 2 strikers with Matondo to try and get goals, to get the confidence up. Contradict myself with dropping people and playing the 2 strikers, but I think they need goals, Robert.
Yeah, totally. That's good. See, I think that's basically near enough what I said, was it not? So that's, I think you've got to play Danilo and Dessers to try and get a bit of confidence, because that must have knocked Danilo a wee bit, missing that open goal, and Big Dessers probably could have done better with that header, although he was scratching a bit, trying to give him a bit of slack here. So I think you've got to play the two, and that's why I'm saying about Bournemouth, because Bournemouth, let's be honest, Bournemouth's been really good. And I'm one of his biggest critics, but I think Bournemouth's actually done okay this season.
So far, he's been one of their consistent players, you know. Raskin was superb in Tuesday night, particularly second half, but at times domestically he's not been great, you know. But Bonner's been pretty consistent. You've got to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to be fair. Cantwell showed on Tuesday night he can play at a different level. Was good last week at times as well, but Bonner's been consistent. I think been fantastic, young Robert.
It's nothing too exciting. We've seen him a lot better than we have. But again, it's his delivery the other night, and it's Tav's at the back post again that's got us through the tie. And we spoke about it on Tuesday, how influential they actually can be. And just with Yilmaz being injured, it gives Bonner a chance. And I know what Robert's saying, he's been pretty decent so far this season. I just don't think he's had much defending threat against him yet. Although Servette kind of had some chances in a lot of the ball first half last week, it didn't really seem to kind of go down Bonner's side an awful lot. So we've not really seen him tested as defensively this season, but going forward, it's certainly something that we are more accustomed to with Barisic. But I'd just like to see how he is tested. I've gone back the way, and I think we might get that on Tuesday night. But I think he will certainly play tomorrow, just given the injury to Yilmaz. Unless young Devine is fit, as Juicy said earlier, and he maybe puts Devine on his natural right side and puts Sterling on the left. But it's Bonner being Bonner, but he'll maybe have one game where he loses that concentration, and before you know it, the fans are on his back again, calling for him to be out of the team and Yilmaz back in. But as long as he keeps doing what he's doing so far this season with the assists, he'll get there.
I think Yilmaz might have got in front of him, but I think Yilmaz has a couple of nightmares, if we're being honest, just in pre-season, and Bonner got back in and got the strip, didn't he?
Neither of them have been particularly consistent, in my opinion. A lot of fans were really up against Bonner the first couple of games, but last two games he's been a lot more consistent, as Robert was saying earlier, and that's really pleasing to see. And we all like Bonner, but we've all got to acknowledge that he can be all over the place at times, and his constant bringing it back when he just seems to run out of options and passing it back, and a lot of fans get so frustrated about it. And you know, when he goes for it, though, he's so capable of putting a quality ball in. And Yilmaz has looked good as well at times, but you're right about pre-season. I just don't think we've got the full article yet, and I'm not sure which one of them it will be, or whether there's someone else who could still come in at some point, whether young Devine could be that person in the future. He's never really let us down when he's played. No. I still think there's positions in this Rangers team that are up for grabs. The fact that I'm unsure about a permanent position on the left wing, for example, you know, I'm not sure what the best formation is yet. And quite a lot of the time for the last few years, it was always pretty easy to name the Rangers starting 11.
Yeah, when was the last time Robert W. we only had one injury, according to the assistant manager?
Oh God, you know, hopefully it'll stay that way. I know it's last season was just that was unbelievable, wasn't it? Absolutely unbelievable. It wasn't one or two. It was, you could count up to sometimes 10 players out, and a lot of them were key players, and it wasn't just wee injuries for a month or so. It was 6 and 8 months in a full season, and it was just horrendous. But also, see, touching on that, talk about injuries, no, what I thought was really positive on Tuesday night, and we have been criticising them, saying they're too slow, they're tired. Now, I thought we finished a stronger team and looked at that team. Okay. And see with that heat, you've got to remember that 30 degree heat, and the Rangers players looked at by far the last 15 minutes, the fittest, and that team had brought on like the 5 subs, and they still looked fat, and I was really impressed with that. So hopefully that's the fitness starting to come up. I don't know if that the Dr. Waller coming back, so that an influence on that, I don't know. I'm hoping it is. But I was really impressed with that on Tuesday night, how we finished the game.
I think it's since Edmondson House opened up the org in there for that special coffee.
Oh, brilliant. I've only been in to buy a couple of things, but I'm dying to go and have a beer, that Gary. But by the time we get over there, it's a bit too late. That's slow getting us over there.
I tell you, I'm trying to get in the museum, Robert. I'm trying to get Foxy's white leather jacket put in a display cabinet. I'm working hard on it.
Oh, I thought that was there already. That's what I was looking forward to when I go in the next couple of weeks.
You know, there's another story, but I'm working on that one as well. Right, okay. We've reached that time of the evening where we're going to have a tune. Right, yeah. Can you two tell me what the tune's going to be quickly?
Oh, Ster, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to drop it. Something's come up. Right. But it's great being on and have a great show. And come on, callers, go on there and give your opinion. Back this show, the best show in town. Come on, let's see you on the second half. And Oxter, 4 mil to the Rangers tomorrow. And guys, good night, and I'll be listening and I'll speak to you soon, okay? Good night.
Speak to you soon, Robert.
Take care, Robert.
Good night, mate.
Get yourself a mute, brothers. We're going to have a tune.
Oh, every other Saturday, my half day up, and it's up to the match I go. Happily we wander down the Copeland Road, me and my wee pal Joe. Oh, we love to see the lassies with the blue scarves on. We love to hear the boys all roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We love to see the Rangers score. Whoa, me, oh, me, oh, me, oh, my. Oh, how we love to hear the cry. We love to see the lassies with the blue scarves on. We love to hear the boys all roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We love to see the Rangers score. Oh, we won the Scottish League about 1,000 times. The League Cup is simple too. We gave some exhibitions in the Scottish Cup. We gave a Wembley Wizard too. And when the Glasgow Rangers in the European Cup, when we won the happy four, we'll rally round an Ibrox 100,000 strong. We'll give the boys an Ibrox roar. Whoa, me, oh, me, oh, me, oh, my. Oh, how we love to hear the cry. We love to see the lassies with the blue scarves on. We love to hear the boys all roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We love to see the Rangers score. Mine. Oh, how we love to hear the cry. We love to see the lassies with the blue scarves on. We love to hear the boys all roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We love to see the Rangers score. Whoa, me, oh, me, oh, me, oh, my. Oh, how I love to hear the cry. We love to see the lassies with the blue scarves on. We love to hear the boys all roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We love to see the Rangers score.
Well, back, gentlemen.
reporting in.
Indeed.
Yes, you with us, Robert?
I am.
I am. Right, okay. Last week was a big week for the show. I missed it. I apologise to my big mucker. I missed the Southside Super 6. He'd done it. 13 months of trying, and he cracked it. And he's back for another go. So let's hear the Southside in the Super 6.
Hi, welcome to Southside Super 6 for August the 19th. My first selection this weekend is Blackburn to beat Hull. My second selection is Leicester to beat Cardiff. The third selection is Derby County to beat Fleetwood. My fourth selection is Tranmere Rovers to beat Salford. My fifth selection is Ipswich to beat Queen's Park Rangers away from home. And my last selection in the six is Blackpool to beat Leyton Orient. If you take all six, it pays 40 to win.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
And we've been joined for the man himself, who's hoping to make it 2 in a row and take himself into the legendary status. Evening, big man.
All right, how's it going? Trips okay? Aye, I was so delighted that you didn't get it on last week. That made
Were you more delighted that you got it up, or were you more delighted when you didn't have it on?
Both, to be honest. It was good to get one over the line for the start of the season. But aye, it made my weekend when I found out that you didn't put it on. So for the ribbons I get on here, it just made my day. You know.
You get it, big man. You've got to take it, ain't you?
Well, maybe you're a jinx. Well, maybe you should just. Maybe that's what it is.
I did get the Southside Super 6 up last year, didn't you?
You did. Yes, I did.
Didn't I?
Yep, you sure did.
You know, but you've got a chance, mate. If this starts this week, mate, there'll be people. They'll be getting tattoos.
Well, hopefully it'll start. I think I've got a couple that I had last week, so hopefully they'll keep winning and it'll bang in. It's 40 to 1 in it, so it's a good wee for a wee pearl diver. And get yourself £205.
Aye, bit interest, juicy bit interest.
Oh, just a phenomenal achievement last week, Southside. I just want to say congratulations, mate. Doesn't matter that it took 13 months. The big man came through last week. And even if we never see its like again, you can say that you did it. And 36 to 1. Superb.
It's free money now. Free season, free hit. Bit of fun, young Robert. Bit of fun.
Beautiful.
I need to start playing this Southside Bookies game. I need to listen to this and get it on. I'm missing out on money here. Well done, big man.
You didn't miss it last year, money. It started well last year, with correct scores and that. Then, but no, I told you, it's a new season and it's a new Rangers team and it's all the way to victory this year. So we're hoping we'll stoke tomorrow. And that'd be a wee Brucey bonus. And there's a few people stuck it on, like I said. Tosh was happy in Blackpool, wasn't he? He had a couple of shrekels on it. So hopefully people lump on this week and hopefully we'll all be lucky.
And the Totty for Lanzarote was on it, wasn't he?
Aye, Totty cashed out, I know, but aye. He got himself a few quid, I know, aye. I was listening to the two trying to name Rangers teams, man. I was taking a bit of eternity, so it was it no earlier?
It wasn't exactly Richard here with Caldo, was it?
Well, no. I'll fling one in, right? This is what I would do, right? But I know it's not going to be happening. I would play McCrory, I would play Sterling, Suter and Balogun. Then I'd have Lundstrom in front with Dowell and Hadji. And up front I'd have Matondo, Dessers and Danilo.
I think that's pretty similar. What were you playing? What shape did you have there?
I'd play a back three.
Right, okay.
And then stick Lundstrom in, just in front.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the middle of the park if you want. You can have Dell on the left, Hadji slightly right, or play as a box, play they two in the middle, and then play Hadji Lammers. And then Matondo, Dessers and Danilo.
I was enjoying Sam Lammers in pre-season, mate. I've not enjoyed him since the season started, if I'm being honest. So maybe he needs to play to try and get some confidence as well.
Aye, well, you don't like weakening the team too much, but I don't think you'll play a back three. But I think I heard Robert saying earlier they'd probably play Tav, I think. And Sterling might play left back, and it might be Suter and Balogun in the middle. You know.
And you come, Robert. Use your thoughts.
I just feel I said it the other night that for me Tav just isn't going to be dropped anytime soon, and no matter the type of game it is, whether it's the Champions League qualifier or it's a League Cup game or whatever, I just feel that he'll always be selected, and we've also not seen Sterling play to say how close a competition it's going to be. You might be right and they might play Sterling on the left, given that Yilmaz is injured. They might want to keep Borna fresh for Tuesday. That's a possibility that he can play there. I see what you mean with the back three. It's an interesting one. I'm not sure how many people would agree with, to be honest, though, with the 3 centre-backs against Morton. I mean, I don't know how... We certainly get us up the park as a more attacking side, but defensively, do we need 3 centre-backs against Morton? Hopefully not, let's be honest. I don't see Morton creating many chances. If anything, it'll be maybe a set piece or two, but I don't know. I think it's just one of the ones where we've not seen the team in full flow yet to know the strongest players and to know the strongest formation. And I think that's maybe why we're having such a debate about it, is we're unsure ourselves, and certainly it seems Michael Beale is still unsure at this present time.
You pick your team. Your best team sometimes changes, Juicy, because form comes into it, doesn't it? And injuries, you know, you don't always in the season get the players on the park that you want, you know.
Well, we didn't see that at all last season, and it was a shame because, as I said earlier, in previous seasons, the starting 11 was really, really solid, wasn't it? And you could name it in your sleep. Until we've played a few more matches, I don't think any of us are going to be totally sure what the main lineup is going to be. But it will get there, and I think we've got some really good players here. I really believe that. We just need to see the blend a little bit more. And even Matondo did some good things in his fleeting appearance last time out. So I'm not losing hope on the boy just yet, although I'm still not totally comfortable with him necessarily starting a game. But if he was ever going to start, you may as well start him in this one. And I'm interested to see what the formation will be. Even more interested to see what the lineup will be. But as long as the result is a Rangers victory, I don't really mind.
Yeah, I think, bizarre as it is, Southside did not bring you in the 2 boys. But we're also looking for a performance with some of the players to see that the squad's slowly gelling. We can see a bit of guile and class, because we've spent, for the level we play at most of the time, we've spent a bit of money.
Aye, we've got a hard game. We've got a big, massive game on the Tuesday night. We need to try and keep players probably fresh, at least 3 or 4 of them. You know, when you're trying to pick a team to play Morton. I think Morton the last time we were playing a cup tie, we beat them 2-1 or something. Last time we might have played them, you know. But you know, we're looking at Morton coming to Ibrox. It's their cup final. I think Big Broadfoot signed for them. I think he's playing for them now, Kurt Broadfoot. But they're not going to come with a lot of ambition, and if they do, we shouldn't give them any ambition to get up the park. We should be dominating this game from start to finish with possession. And you should be able to fresh the team a bit, you know, so we shouldn't have any fears about refreshing it a bit to get some more players on. I think Dowell should get game time. I think Lundstrom might have on, as I said, and I think Hadji probably will get game time. You could put the three in and keep it still pretty strong, but I think maybe with Borna, with Yilmaz not ready, it might be a game for Sterling maybe to go in and play left back. So I think it would give Borna that rest going on for the game on Tuesday night, just in case we pick up an injury or a muscle injury or a strain or anything. Got to be fearful of that as well. So you'll probably risk some players, but I think we should play the two strikers, Ox. I think we should play them for a wee bit anyway and get some goals into them, and then you can get them off. But I think we should give the two some game time.
I don't disagree, big man. I just, I don't know if confidence is the right word. You know, the strikers thrive in goals. You know, sometimes
It gives them confidence, then, doesn't it, when they're scoring?
Aye. Yeah, but it'll be interesting. It's really going to be interesting to see what he does about it, just say that, because, you know, I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. Just to let you know, the poll finished and it was 65% said play your strongest team. So there you go. That surprises me.
Oh, that's pretty decisive in the end. I'm sorry if I was being a bit pessimistic, everyone. I just don't want to see the top guys getting injured, because the fans will be straight onto the manager's back going, why are you playing him? Why are you playing him before such a massive tie? We've seen it before, haven't we? And just want to get through the game. And you know, I'm concerned. I remember what happened to Hadji in a similar type of cup game at Ibrox, albeit in the Scottish Cup. But got to put that to one side now, Juicy. Be positive. Let's just pump them, get it done, move on to midweek.
Yeah. If you get the goals, you can start thinking about the next Tuesday at the right time.
Exactly.
Robert, yeah.
Exactly. You can make the changes at half time. You're totally right, Ox.
Right. If you get the goals, but we need to go out and play with a bit of tempo, Robert.
That's the thing, mate. You want to see as Southside said, the possession, but it's how we intensify the game. It's all right having the possession, but it can be times pedestrian. You want to see the fast flowing, and the strikers will get confidence if they get the goals, but ultimately they need to get the service as well. And we've talked about earlier on, wide players we don't have at the minute. It's all been narrow, so it's how they get the service to the strikers to give them that goal to get the confidence. But I just don't want us to be sitting passing the ball about at halfway line with Morton sitting with 11 men behind the ball. The crowd will just get right on top of the players. You'll feel the tension, especially if it's still sitting at 0-0. The tempo will dictate how big a result scoreline it will be. It'll be 3-4-0 maybe if you're playing at a high tempo, but if you're sitting pedestrian, like, it could be a 2-0 and you think we should have again got a lot more goals. And Bale himself last season was critical, saying that we are sometimes the most wasteful in front of goal. Well, he's brought the strikers in. They need to get the goals in to change that. But again, for me, it's the service and how they get that to them. Whether it's a cross ball, whether it's working it through the lines, breaking them down. As I said, I don't see Morton coming out to attack. They'll sit very stubborn and resolute defending. And it's how we manage to pull them out and create the space in behind, and how effective we can be on the ball as well as off the ball, which I don't think will be too much of, to be honest.
Yeah, I think goals change games. If you get there and you get a goal in the first 5 minutes, and you hopefully go to strength, the game gets easier. Just it breeds confidence. But if you get to 20 minutes and then half an hour, you know, the crowd get restless, the other team growing confidence, you get frustrated. You know, it's all about scoring goals. The game of football is ultimately it's about scoring goals.
Yeah, and the opposition that comes to Ibrox tends to always make it difficult for you. And I think it was only really Partick last season in that fairly tight affair, which actually tried to bring it to us a little bit, yet it ended up being quite low scoring. Most teams tend to sit in and make it difficult, frustrate. Most teams will get one chance in a game, and it's about making it count then. if we play to a fast pace, as Robert was saying, technical skill, players like Hadji, who can unlock a team, we should be able to get a nice lead. And then, as you said, we can make those changes. And that's where people would want to play the first team, the strongest lineup, and make the changes later, rather than bringing them on in a panic when it is a 0-0 or even, God forbid, a 1-0 down situation. Get the job done, then take the players off. But my fear factor side of me is telling me just to make a few more changes, because I still think we've got the quality in some of these players that we haven't seen much yet. Some of them have got good backgrounds. We've paid good money for them. We should be able to take care of business.
Yeah. We're paying them decent salaries, Southside.
Aye, I think we're paying Morton a wee bit more respect than what they're probably due. No, it's Morton we're playing, no. And I think there shouldn't be an issue here about, no matter who's in the team, about beating Morton at home. We beat Livingston 4-0 the other week at Ibrox, and they would beat Morton. Do you know what I mean? They've got better players. They were more. You can see the way their game plan was when they came, but it's Morton, and I don't think there should be a problem. So I think if you get your players on the ball that are skillful, if you had Lammers in the team and Hadji in the team, you've got two players that can unlock and play through boys. And if you play your two main strikers until you get the goals in the first half, and then you get them off the park. And if Robert's Hadell or if Roof's fit and he's available, you might see him come on or something. But I don't fear tomorrow. I think tomorrow we should at least be 2 or 3 up by half time. And I wouldn't see it being an issue, to be honest, guys.
I'm hoping we go minimum nap tomorrow. Go 5, mate. I really do.
I'd take 5 out of 5 the whistle, wouldn't bother me. That's what I was more thinking. But I'd expect to be 2 or 3 up in the first half. We just get on there and play. We'll create chances if we've got the movement and the players are moving and that. We'll be too good for Morton. I know you can feel worried about it and they'll be resolute in that for a bit. But let's be honest, if we come out and score in the first 5-10 minutes and then add another one, the game's done. So it won't matter how many.
Hopefully you're right, big man. Hopefully you're right. But I'll be interested to see what it plans out. I think we're more intrigued, young Robert, about what the team selection's going to be.
Indeed, mate. And just as you come to myself, I'm just sitting here thinking of players that we could maybe see feature tomorrow. We've obviously mentioned the players that we've brought in that maybe need some confidence, but do you think it's an opportunity that we might see the likes of John Lee, Ufeko, Bailey Rice involved, maybe second half, as Southside says, with substitutes?
Ufeko?
Yep.
Oh,
Bailey Rice.
Big John, aye. Well, I think Bailey Rice and that could be involved, but it'll depend what they're doing. If they're playing them to get minutes, or there's a B team game where they can go and get more 90 minutes under their belt,
Absolutely. Again, it just came to myself of if I'm going to have Raskin and Cantwell and Cifuentes not in the squad completely, it's maybe players like that from the B team you look at and say that they can get some first team experience. I know they've been in and around the first team training. You've seen the videos and things, and they've both been involved in pre-season as well. And they don't look out of part either. I know they're still young boys, but the early signs we've seen of them is promising. I know we've been here before with players in the academy and they don't maybe cut out, but it was just 2 players that sprung to my mind that maybe gets a chance tomorrow.
Anyway, we've been joined by Blue Star. Evening, Blue Star.
Evening, Oxchair, and the rest of the guys in the panel. Ox, listening to Neil Banfield doing the press of the day, whenever he was talking about it and he just kept saying Michael will play his strongest 11 to win the game, I never thought for a minute he was talking about his strongest 11 as in anywhere near what the team would be against PSV, or indeed what finished in Tuesday night there. But listening to all yous, and then I'm listening to your poll, I mean, I put in straight away on the poll that it's got to be a rotation. And I can see the logic for saying, well, start with the strongest team and hopefully go a couple of goals up. The point is, he's been playing his strongest 11 and we've not been going a couple of goals up. But I'm agreeing with Southside in the sense, irrespective of what 11, and I know it's a cup game and I know they'll be fired up, etc. But you're not seriously telling me you're starting with Cantwell, Raskin, tomorrow in a game at Ibrox against Morton. I find that bewildering. I get the logic for both sides, that's what I'm saying, but never in a million years when you've got an important game coming up a couple of days later, do you think we should been anywhere near having to play the likes of them in the midfield when they're our strongest players? Certainly I agree with you 100% on the two strikers. For me, guys, I will say it, there's too much pussyfooting around all this. Lammers, Dessers and Danilo have been an absolute letdown. You can put it in two ways. You can say, well, the team needs time, they've got to gel. We all get that. But at the same time, you're not telling me that we should have seen far, far more movement for them. Our manager continuously tells us he was bringing legs, pace and goals into the team. Well, look, being honest, if you're going right across that first line, and I'm not being negative, I'm simply stating facts the way that it's been, between Sima, Danilo, Dessers and Lammers, I'm calling it as I see it. I've seen nothing for them. Absolutely nothing. And I agree with was it Robert or Southside yourself even. There's got to be a time for Ruth. If Ruth's fit, which you tell us he is, then Ruth's got to go on that park. Because I'll tell you, if Ruth had been on that park on Tuesday night, we would have been a couple of goals up. Let's not kid ourselves on here. It's not a case of attacking the players that he's brought in. They've simply not done it. And they don't look like doing it any time soon. I will say that. Not for me, they don't. So I think I get the fact. I don't even know if he can change the pool for the PSV game. Initially, I thought he could. But now I'm not 100% sure. If he could, I'll tell you right now, Matondo and Ruth should be in that squad. And we all know what we thought of Matondo. But to all intents and purposes, Ox, we were playing at Ibrox against Livingston. We were dire for 70-odd minutes. And it was me, Matondo, that changed that game. He totally, utterly changed that game. So any team with pace, is what we all said all last season. As yet, I've not seen the pace for the guys that he's brought in. I haven't seen it, Ox. And I agree with you 100%. You know, I've been on a couple of times and I've said to you, we're so blooming narrow, it's scary. And the only guy that we've seen that's got a bit of pace that he can stick out in that wing so far is Matondo, because we know Tom Lawrence and that has got a bit of pace, but we've not seen him yet. So I think he's going to be used. Honestly, I do, mate.
Listen, I mean, they're just starting. I mean, if Danilo had scored that one when he missed the target on Wednesday night, that'd have been 2 goals in 2 games, you know. Strikers are judging their goals. It's a tough gig, you know. You can play badly as a striker, Southside, and be the hero.
Aye, ultimately you're judged on your goals. I know what you're saying, Blue Star. I think Dessers has looked a wee bit sharper. I think he's looked a wee bit. I think he will come good. I think he's got movement. I think one he chested after Cantwell and he got it back in the box and under his foot and probably should have scored, but it was just one of the things. I think Danilo, how he missed that is unbelievable. We paid a few quid for him, no? I mean, he actually be stuck in the back of the net midweek, you know. But he has scored and all, and he did at Ibrox against Livingston, and you're hoping that, I just think tomorrow I would just play the two of them, try and just get 45 minutes out of the two of them, and we should be at least 2 or 3 goals up at half time. We move the ball about, we force them to run about. Fitness should take into it. If you play Matondo, you try and isolate him one-on-one with the defender, and his pace and everything should just go by him. It's about setting him up to be one-on-one with their left back or right back, and his pace should get by them, and then we should have players in the box where we'll create chances. Star, that's what I think tomorrow. But just go at it for the start, and even if it takes a bit longer, but you'll tire them out. And then when they get second half, we should be putting in a few more goals late on in the game when they're. So I don't see it being a problem. I just think he should probably play. I would play Lammers and Hadji tomorrow, and I would play Dessers and Danilo. And I think maybe I would probably use Matondo because I think his pace but I think he's going to have him narrow if he puts him up there. I don't know. It just depends on the system he plays. But I think Lundstrom should play an all Blue Star. Just don't risk Raskin. You don't risk Cantwell. and I think Dowell gets a game and all.
Definitely. Oh, on that too, I agree with Southside there. The likes of Lammers, Dowell. For me, I think. And it's all about opinions. For me, I think I've seen a bit more positivity, if you call it that way, play-wise and certainly pace-wise. I've seen more out of Dowell than I've seen out of Lammers. Lammers certainly has nice touches, but for me, he's miles after pace. I've not seen any pace for him at all. Dowell at least does get up the park. And on that, Ox, the one I couldn't understand with Danilo the first couple of games that he played him, I couldn't get the idea if he's a centre forward, he had him playing out in that right wing. I'm sick of this carry on where you're playing guys out of position. If he's playing Dessers and he's playing Danilo, surely to goodness he's got to play them through the middle. And that's what it comes on to when you're talking about there's no width. You're right, there's absolutely no width. And you can't rely on Tav. You're ruining Tav in the sense that you're leaving them wide open at the back, and then you're on that, you're leaving we're two centre backs with too much to do. We all know it. So for me, if he plays the two strikers, he's got to tell them to get into that box at every opportunity. They've got to get goals under their belt. We all know it. But his shape, I'm not convinced with the shape at all. I'm not.
One of the things that worries me about the shape, and I'll bring Robert in, you mentioned it, is when they're playing in midfield and you have two guys or maybe Cantwell in front, whoever it is, and the other teams go wide. And I'm talking about decent sides here. I'm maybe not talking about Amora, Robert. Is the two guys in midfield, you just can't do it. Literally, you've got too much grunt to cover. And that's what gives me the problem. The lack of width. When they're playing basically sitting in front of two centre halves, you're expecting them to go left and right. It just doesn't happen. Physically, you can't do it. And then when you play against quick players and teams that move the ball quick, you'll get murdered, in my opinion. Robert?
Of course I do, mate. And you've seen the performance that Raskin and Cifuentes put in to do that job on Tuesday night. But the benefit was they had Ryan Jack sitting, and we mentioned that Ryan Jack wasn't mentioned that whole game, but it's because he'd done the dirty side of the game. If he was getting mentioned, it's because the players were getting by Raskin and Cifuentes in the second half. They pressed right up to their fullbacks, and they were shifting left to right. But it's tiring. But if Jack's not there, then it's a massive gap in the middle. And as you say, it just causes somebody to run straight through you by putting them out wide. If they come in, the width, they're just going to get attacked. Like Blue Star says, you're leaving Tav and Barisic exposed in that whole left and right wing to get attack from the opposition. I get what Blue Star saying about the kind of players out width and out of position and not seeing Lammers pace and things.
Lammers is no pace, let's be honest.
He's got no pace at all, and Bale said that. Bale said that Lammers was brought in, he was a more technical player. He's a big, tall guy, but he's good with the ball at his feet. Alright, we may not have seen everything yet from him, and I'm maybe guilty I keep saying it. It might take time, and I know you don't get a lot of time at Rangers, and there's a big expectation. But in pre-season for me, the games we played, Lammers was a standout for me, along with Suter. And I've certainly seen enough of Dowell to get my opinion that he's a workhorse in the middle of the park. He certainly gets back and up the park. He chases down, he presses well. I've been kind of impressed by Dowell, and I think he'll get a fair crack in game time tomorrow. But I just think that if we're doing the players with pace, then if we're going a 4-3-3 or a diamond or whatever it may be, we've got pace in the right wing. It's that left wing we don't have a pace.
Who's the pace in the right wing then?
I would say Seema, but he's played him central.
He showed that. He showed that in glimpses on Tuesday night. Juicy. Then we'll go back to Blue Star.
Well, pace seems to be something that I think we're lacking in a lot of areas at the moment. You know, Matondo, we're getting excited because he's given us a brief flash, but we know that he's got some pace. Seema seems quite pacey, but we haven't seen a lot of end product from him yet. And then a lot of the other players we've mentioned, not so much about their pace, it's the being technically skilled, like a Hadji or a Lammers. Hadji's not known for his pace, but he has trickery and he has the ability to unlock defences and set up good play. So it's not always about just having the pure pace, but you need that balance in a team and you need the variety to be able to turn to these guys on the bench when it's not working out. Right now, as I said earlier, still not sure on what that ultimate front three is for us. We'll get there, but my goodness, we've got to get it sorted out quickly, because I don't think PSV are going to give us that opportunity to rest on our laurels.
Nick on Bluster.
Oh, Smurf said an interesting thing last night when he mentioned about you can have players lacking match sharpness. If you're telling me that, like, the mass majority of that squad, they knew aren't up to speed, then I'm telling you straight, you and I both played the game. We all played the game. You're fit. You might not have the match sharpness, but you're certainly fit enough. My worry is, and I agree with Southside, I'm looking at Dessers, and I'm only using him because it's so noticeable with him. Ox, never in a million years. Are you telling me that guy's a number 9 or anywhere in that front line? Has he got the attributes to be fit enough to play anywhere near outside the box to get into the box? I'm telling you, he's not got that. So for me, if you're going to play him, you've got to tell him to stay in that 18-yard box. You have to, because whoever's the ones with the legs, whether it's a Cantwell or whether it's a Dowell or whether it's a Seema, they're the guys that's got to run about the park up front. Dessers isn't that type of player. He just isn't. To me, he's like an old kind of fashioned on number 9, and for that, he's not even that. I really don't know what his perfect position is. I seriously don't. I'm not knocking the guy. I'm only saying it as I see it. Danilo, I think's got a wee. I think Danilo's got a wee bit more attributes in the sense he's got better movement. But again, he started him the 2 games out in that right wing box. I don't understand that if that's the guys you're looking to get your goals. You've got to be in that box at all times. That's when you're talking about the narrowness. Whoever's on the flanks, whether it's a winger or whether it's your right back or your left back, they've got to do the donkey work out in the wings. You must have your goal scorers in that and around that box. We've not had that. We have not had that yet. That's my biggest worry. He's got to get that sorted, and he's got to get it sorted mega quick. There's been too much play outside the box for me. I get they've had a couple of chances, Ox, but you've watched as many games as I have no more. You know what strikers are, Ox. They've got to be getting the boys in that box. We've not had that so far. We have not seen it so far, because most of the chances, it's been 1 or 2 a game in the box. It's actually been most of the donkey work's been getting done outside the 18-yard box. And that, for me, I don't understand. I really don't.
Southside.
See when we scored against Servette, Danilo ran front post and the ball came across. Danilo put it in. We had 2 players in the box at that time. That's what we're looking for at all times, as you're trying to say, Blue Star. That was one example.
Absolutely, Southside, that's what I'm saying.
I think Dessers is Michael Beale's number 9, right? That's my opinion, and I think he's more or less alluded to it when we were buying him. He said he's a number 9. I think Danilo can play half him round about him. I don't think Danilo's is big. I still think he's getting up to a bit of fitness, Blue Star, as he said, and I think he was unlucky when he made the run in the box and got round the goalkeeper and hit it for goal and he get kicked half the line. I think he's going to show fitness, and I think he'll show a bit more speed. Don't think he'll be electric, but I think you'll see a bit more movement from him. But I think he is our number 9, in my opinion, and I think Danilo is the one that will play round about him. I don't think you'll see Danilo play up very often as a lone striker. I don't think he's even big enough to do it. So for me, as we talk about players with pace, we've got Matondo, who's not getting a shot or a regular run because his performances. We still have your pal Scott Wright, who has got pace as well. and yet they two can't get in the team, and we've got Seema, who has showed he's got pace. So we have got pace there, but none of the three have really cut the mustard. I think Seema's done all right in certain games. I think he's ahead of the pecking order in the other two. Scott Wright will probably go, I think. But, you know, we talk about we don't have much pace, but we do. The one I'm looking forward to coming back that might play left for me, and once he gets his fitness up, will be Tom Lawrence. I hope he can come back and get a bit of fitness, some game time, and then maybe when he's a bit more regular fit and we can see that he's competing and Beale says he's ready. I think he'll be a good addition to our squad on the left. But I agree with Robert. Kieran Dowell, for me, I said it at the start of the season, I think could be an unsung hero in our team. He'll do the donkey work, he works hard, and he scored a good goal last week. But as I heard you all alluding to earlier, if you're picking your strongest Rangers midfield, it's Cifuentes, people are saying Cantwell and Raskin. I would have Dowell in there, and I'd have Cantwell up one. But I would have Dowell, Raskin and Cifuentes in my midfield three if I was talking about my strongest three, if I was playing them. But everybody's got their own opinion. But I think Dessers will come good, boy Star. I think he will.
I want to tell you, as you say, dogs all night, goals is what the game's all about. We need day two firing. It's as simple as that, as soon as we can get them.
It's funny, if you go back to Sakala and fashion, and all our listeners, Zambia, we're still with us. If you go back to fashion, right? We liked fashion. He done some wonderful things. He gave you everything he had. He missed 3 chances last year that they'll live with us. The 2 at Hampden and the 1 at Aberdeen. Big chances, big moments. He scores them that season. He's only got 3 more goals. But because when he scores the goals, you look at him different. Do you see there?
You're absolutely right. It's the goals that matter, my friend. But where are they going to come from with this current team? And it's drier than the Gobi Desert up front at the moment. And I need to see something fresh. I need to see someone go on a run. Look, Danilo's miss the other day was terrible. It's terrible. But strikers do that from time to time. The very best strikers miss. But it's about the chance conversion rate. If he goes and gets a couple tomorrow, or if he was able to get one in both games against Eindhoven, suddenly we're thinking, it's working out for him. We're so new into the season that there aren't that many stats available yet to measure all of these guys with. We're just looking at appearances here or there. Some of these guys haven't got a lot of minutes behind them. Let's not slaughter everyone just yet. Made it through in the Champions League. Really tough game to come. But let's see how they get on. We were underdogs last season as well. We weren't the fancied side to go through, and we still did it. So we've got to have some belief that we're capable, guys. And the goals will come, Ox. Just not quite sure from whom yet.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I'm not writing the 2 forwards off. I mean, Dessers hasn't come back for a long injury, and then he always come in and hardly he played. I don't think he's in the full 90 yet, has he? I'm not sure if he has, but anyway, unless Saturday maybe I need to check that out. But look, they're still starting. There's guys started worse and slower and went on to be Rangers legends. There's guys started better and we think they're superb, and then they disappear. You just have, it's all about the next game, as Brad says. It's about the next game, the next game, the next game. But you can only critique on here what we've seen and we try and be fair. I think that's fair, Southsider.
Aye, well, when we bought the striker last year and Cholak, we were waiting to see if he could hit it. It's one of the hardest jobs at Rangers. It's probably been the number 9 striker. But with the chances that we should create, if we'd just signed Dessers and Danilo and the team was more or less set and we'd bought them maybe the season before and they were embedded in, we're only adding 2 or 3 players, then the nucleus of the squad's there. And if you're playing well, you're going to, and you're creating chances. It's easier for a number 9 to come in and fit into the team. And if he does his job right, presented with the chances, he's scoring the goals, he gets the confidence, and then you can say, aye, he's the guy we were looking for. Danilo missed a sitter, we know that. And especially in a European competition, it's as easy as that. It was shocking. But he missed it and we move on. But I still think he will score goals. But we've got about 8, 9 players that we're trying to fit into this new team and a system, and he's probably no fun the best one yet. So we'll be critical, but I think that given time and over the next few months, I think we'll see a different team level of fitness, understanding. But we can still see sometimes the shape might not be right. So you can't leave the big hole in the middle of the park all the time, because good teams will punish us. And if you give them too much width in the wings, as PSV will use in the wings against us, we could, if we're no tight at the back, we'll certainly get punished, because we've been punished every other year in Europe, whether it be Europa League or Champions League. So that's just my worry, but that's down to shape and the way that he sets the team up and what his instructions are. But if it's right, then we can see going forward we've got good players that have got good touches, and we've seen some nice football. So it's just about them bedding in, and hopefully we'll see a winning run coming up in the next few months.
If you take the last half of football we played in isolation, Blue Star, in isolation, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We played well.
Absolutely. The progression was there in that second half. No two ways about it. And that's the Nick Marks. If you look at us in the first half, we were absolutely, to me, we were just poor. And yet, whatever he says to them at half time, they came out. The midfield dominated, absolutely dominated. We Raskin and we just ran forward the whole time. Raskin was a sensation in the second half. So I get it all. It's all about progression. You've got to take baby steps before you get there. I get that. Part of our problem is we've got massive matches at the start, insofar as we've got to win every game. You start off with a defeat and then all the despondency kicks in straight away. Not just because we get beat, but because not one player in the park even get pass marks. So it's about progression. I just feel the new, no doubt about it, as Southside says, we all know it. He did, for me, he doesn't seem to know. He might know his formation, but he certainly doesn't know his best, anywhere near his best 11 yet. Or if he does, he just thinks 2 or 3 just only knitting in together, and I get that. But it's goals, Ox. It's goals for me. I just, maybe because of last season, I just expected, because we'd spent a few quid in these 4 guys up front, probably we all thought the same. We were going to start seeing goals right away, and that hasn't happened. But onwards and upwards, and it's all about progression. As long as we're getting results and we're winning, surely that will come.
Robert?
I totally agree with what's been said, mate. It is one of those ones where we have brought in a big number of players. We've got the refresh that Michael Beale said we're going to get, that we've been asking for maybe a season or 2 now, and it's long overdue. And it is about building relationships on the park, as you heard Neil Banfield say in his interview. It's about building relationships between the players, new and current players that have been there for a season or 2, and they know what it is and what the expectation is. And let's not kill ourselves on. The new guys that have came in, they know the expectations. They've all mentioned it in their interviews about how Michael Beale spoke to them and what his idea was and how he sees Rangers going forward, what the expectation is. They're under no illusions it's an easy task here. It's an absolute monumental weight on your shoulders when you're wearing that jersey. But that's the thing, it's finding the right formation, the right style. And as Blue Star says, Dessers might not look like a number 9 just now, but I think that's because he's been playing kind of either a lone striker or with a non-natural striker next to him. If him and Danilo can strike up a partnership, it might be the ideal one. You've got Dessers, who's tall, physical, and you've got Danilo, who's smaller, agile, with a faster pace. It sounds like the great combination for 2 strikers. It's where, if you play the 2 up front, where everybody else fits in behind, where your Lammers go, your Cantwells go, and you've got your midfield free. Raskin, Cifuentes, Dill's got an argument in there. Cantwell, if you're not putting him in the 10, there's options there. But again, it is just finding that formation. And I think once we get the formation, the personnel will fit in. There is quality there. We can see it. We know there's more to bring. But once it all clicks together, I think it's certainly going to look very impressive. I think we'll be able to move up the gears a lot quicker than we have and not just start in the second half or the last half an hour. But if we can bring the level of performance from Tuesday night into from Wednesday night into the game going forward, we can certainly keep that going, and we can punish teams by getting early goals, putting the game to bed a lot sooner, not keeping teams in a tie, and get the goals, because it could be a season where points don't count at the end. It could be goal difference and goals scored.
Goals only count when you've got the points, mate.
Oh, I mean, in terms of how it could be win, it could be very tight. It can come to goal difference.
Goals don't count unless you've got the points, mate. That's the problem. You need the points. But
of course, mate.
You're right about the goals. If Lammer scores that goal last week, Southside, and it goes 3-0, the chances are they're going very that time, maybe even in the first half. Ibrox, yeah.
Aye, and that was the reason why we didn't. Probably, we gave up chances. But as Robert said, he's right. I think Lammers is good as well. I think he's clever. He's got good feet. He's got good vision. He showed it. He's just not been in a game now and again. He sort of wasn't involved as much as we thought. But I think it's down to Michael Beale to work out where Cantwell plays, or does he play in that position? You can put Lammers somewhere else, maybe slightly deeper to a different position. I don't know. But he seems to like Lammers, so I think you maybe try and play him more often than he will if his form's all right. And I think if Cantwell can come into the team, and as we talked about that, nobody even mentioned Hadji, And as much as madness how it sounds, it could be somebody like Hadji playing a number 10 that might or play him deeper in midfield. It might link a jigsaw, and it might take one of your other players that we're all thinking should play. Like I even think Dell should play, but it might be taking him out and putting Hadji in there somewhere. It might link it with Lammers up front or with Cantwell. You don't know, but it's all down to form and how Michael Beale fits his jigsaw. But we've got players in there with creativity. Hadji's another one with no pace, but you've seen in European nights he's done well, and he does well in Europe because you get that wee bit more time. But at the same time, I think Lammers will play on Tuesday night. I do think he will play, and I think Cantwell will play and all. So
I think if you want Lammers and Cantwell on the team, I think you've got a problem, mate. I think it's where you put Cantwell, because I think Lammers can only play in one role, from what I've seen. And I was impressed with him and his touches in pre-season, but I've not been impressed with him since the season started, mate.
Aye, I think in fact he's played there in Dutch football and that, and I think he plays, and I think he'll start him on Tuesday night, my opinion. And I think Cantwell will play and all.
The Bold Fox is making a prediction. I'll read it out. If I could get him on to see it. But he's got new teeth because he's got a new girlfriend. Lammers will outscore Dessers over the season. That's a prediction for Mr. Fox. Let's be honest, he's never right. But that's his prediction. Right, carry on Southside, and then we'll go back to Blue Star.
I don't see that. I think Dessers will score more than Lammers.
He's to go to HR first thing on Monday and get ready for the Globe.
But listen, it's good that we can talk about who we're trying to fit in the team and the players now, because for last year and the year before we could pick the team more or less every week. He's built this team. This is his team that he's building, and hopefully he gets the jigsaw fitted and they start firing quicker than what we've seen so far. But I think it looks promising. I think we've got good movement in the team and there's players with good vision. And I just think if we're tactically set up right, I still think we could play a 4-5-1 in Europe. I think we could be more tighter across the midfield and we can spring players when we've got the ball. But I don't know. He's going to play the way that he set it out. I think, and we'll be as open as we were on Wednesday night as we will be on Tuesday night at times for PSV. So looks like it'll be nice. I'm really looking forward to Tuesday because I think it'll be end-to-end stuff, hopefully. But Probably more goals in their end than in ours. But the more it's just about getting by this cup tie, and it's Morton, and I've said it before, I don't think we've got anything to fear at all.
I disagree, Bill.
5-0.
Blue Star, and you come.
I've no. Listen, seriously, guys, I've no qualms about tomorrow. I'll go as far as to say, even if we started off slow and we played bad tomorrow, at 1,000,000%, I still expect us to win with at least a couple of goals against Morton. Gosh, I'd be more terrified if we didn't. On the PSV game, I think, Southside, you brought up a good point there on Hadji. Ox, for me, Morelos even said it, I know it was through his pidgin English. I think when you go to his run, when he scored these 14 goals in Europe, I think I'm right in saying either 7 of the passes put through or 8 of them were all put through with Hadji. And we know yourself, Hadji in a lot of their games come on as a sub. I've always said that, especially in Europe where there's bigger open spaces, Hadji was absolutely tremendous at putting a ball through for him. He was amazing at it. He just had that knack of putting it right in the right place between defenders. And on that, Ox, on the Lammers one, that's what I would expect to see Lammers running a bit of amok. No running, obviously, but you know what I mean, his ability-wise. Because in Europe, you've seen it even in that game, where players had loads of time on the ball in certain passages of the game. They had loads of time on the ball, certain players. And for somebody like Lammers, that for me hasn't got the pace, but he's got ability. In Europe, you would expect to see a lot coming for him, and maybe that's where Michael Beale's coming for let's be honest, he paid a right few quid for that boy or two. So he is going to want to use him. It's all about gelling, it's all about getting the blend. As Robert says, they're all trying to find their feet, he's trying to find the blend in it. But I've got to be honest, see Ruth, especially in the Scottish game, you think of the great sides we had. We had guys like Dodge, we Wallace, they never cost loads of money. But in the Scottish League especially, they all contributed with goals. And I think now and again, it just so happens now because Danilo and Thingby are just in and they're still trying to find their feet. I get that. That's why I would play the two of them for the start tomorrow. But if once they were up to speed, then you're using your pool. And for me, if he's hanging on to Ruth and he's fit, no doubt about it, Ox, I still maintain in the Scottish game, that guy will get you goals. Hands down, he'll get you goals because his movement as well, for me, is second to none. I think he's got to be used.
Well, gentlemen, it's been great debate. Listen, Southside, thanks for coming in and giving your Southside Super 6 a shout out. I'm waiting for Southside Super 6 the 6th of September. Aye, thanks for coming on, Biggin, yeah?
Aye, no, thanks for having us on. Appreciate it. And let's just do this tomorrow, Rangers. Now into the next round of the Cup.
Here. Blue Star.
Thanks for having us on, Ox. It's great show as always. Best show out there. And it's just getting our team. We're all just desperate for success. We want the trophies back, and it's onwards and upwards, as I always say. And it's definitely a win tomorrow. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate. Juicy Bear.
Start of a massive week again. 2 big cup matches. Let's get it done in both. 2 home games. Absolutely no reason, whatever the starting lineup, Ox, which we haven't really been able to agree on tonight. Let's just go and get it done and take a lead into that second leg as well. But first up, got to deal with Morton.
It's the curveball of having a League Cup tie after a European tie. If this had been Morton in the league, if they'd have been in the league, people would look at it differently. Yeah, when you go, young Robert, last words.
Thanks for having me on, Ox. Just say pleasure being on with you. Good calls tonight from Robert, Blue Star and Southside as always. I'm going to find myself a cheeky 5 and get that bet on. I look forward to tomorrow. Get it out of the way. Hopefully no injuries, and look forward to a big night on Tuesday. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some of my money back for you last week, so I'm not putting it on. Right. Listen, thanks to Blue Star, thanks to Big Southside for joining us. It's always good to hear from him. Come on to Southside Super 6. Robert Wirral before the break, and of course Juicy and Robert for doing the show. Fox and Old School Blue for technicals. Everybody that took part in my new feature on Facebook with a poll, thanks for that. We appreciate it. It's going to be a constant part of the show going forward. This has been Rangers Radio. Fox is staying up tonight because it's an 11:30 start for us with a pre-match shows. We build up to a League Cup tie against Morton and a Saturday at 12:30. Who'd ever thought it? Take it away, Old School Blue.